Hello, good evening, everybody. I am coming to you for Thoughts on Thursday here in the middle of nowhere, Texas. Here I am, just here with my family, which is so fun when we get to travel together, and been working on some new things coming out really soon, more announcements about that, and honestly just taking some family time. We went and looked at dinosaur footprints today. That was fun. Although I didn't see the person footprints with the dinosaur footprints. All my Blurry Creatures fans will know what I'm talking about. It's kind of funny. Anyway, that's if you know, you know. I just had this thought. I'm sitting here doing this and there's like lots of bugs in Texas. I hope no bugs crawl on me while I'm trying to do this. Okay, here we go. Thoughts on Thursday. My daughter came to me recently and she said, I was like just in my bathroom, like getting ready, like curling my hair or something. And she said, "Mama, how will I know when it's my time?" And it was such a, just the way she even worded that question, I felt like I knew what she was talking about. But I, of course, inquired and I said, "Well, what do you mean your time? Your time for what?" And she said, "You know, my time to go on stage and do what you do and worship Jesus." And I honestly was just in shock and couldn't believe that my 6-year-old daughter was thinking about this. And she even said, "You know, how will I know it's my time?" And it was a really great conversation for us to have. I said, "Well, you know, Mama did not really know when it was her time. It's not like I just suddenly knew or heard God say, 'It's time right now, go do it.' I just, I said, I just followed Jesus. I set my eyes on Jesus and I followed him. And in the right time, he put me where I was supposed to be. And he put me on the stage when he was ready for me to be on the stage." And I told her about one of the verses that we talk a lot about with our kids is in Proverbs, where it says, "Man makes his plans, but the Lord aligns his steps." And so I said, so really what you need to do is just to keep your eyes on Jesus, and in his perfect timing, he will lead your steps to where you're supposed to be. And you really don't want to go on the stage before it's your time, because if you are there before it's your time, it's not going to be a good thing for you and it won't be a blessing. And I said, so really what you just need to do is just keep your eyes on Jesus, and in the right time he'll lead you there. And I said, "Do you think you could do that?" And she was like, yeah. And then she just walked off, trotted off and went about her day. And I was just thinking today about how the Lord's timing in our lives, it really is everything. When I was a single woman, I used to get so mad at married people when they would say things like, "Oh, it was right when I stopped looking that the right person came along," or "It was right when I did X, Y, and Z that it finally happened for me." And that's, to me, what I heard when they said that was, there's a formula and you've been doing the formula wrong. And I hated that. It drove me crazy. If there was a formula, I felt like I would have done it by now. But there's really just God and his timing. And I knew that God would bring the right person at the right time. And so I've come to really understand this even in just my calling and everything that God is like the way, even the way that he brought me into worship. It was truly his time in his way. It wasn't following any formulas. It was just him breathing life on something and putting me where he wanted me to be at the right time. And it's funny, I always have had this thought in my mind. Now, the theologians on social media might, have some disagreements with me. Fine, whatever, I don't care. But my thought has always kind of been, well, if I am truly submitted to Jesus, truly, and my life is given to him and I belong to him, can I make a mistake on the path? Like, can I choose the wrong direction? If I'm just his and my eyes are fixed on him and I'm following him and moving towards him, if the word is true, which I believe it is, he will lead all my steps. So would I make the wrong decision, or would I just follow him and he just leads me where I'm supposed to be in the right time? I kind of think that's how it is. The harder part is just staying submitted to him and keeping your eyes on him, because there's a lot of other things going on in life that kind of pull your attention and your eyes to the left, to the right. So the thing is, it's so important that we don't step into something before the right time. I learned early on that, all of the things that God was building in me and preparing in me before I was ever on a stage were things that were necessary for me to be prepared to be on the stage. I really believe that being on the stage actually would have taken me out if I had gone there prematurely, if I had pushed for a different way, or if my talent had made a way for me. Because this is the other problem. Sometimes our talent opens doors for us, and it doesn't mean that God's opening those doors. It just means that our talent and our skill, these kind of natural abilities that God's given us, kind of opened that door. And it's not necessarily that He's opening that door. And it's so important that we are paying attention to when it is Him opening the door and when it is something else. Because not every door that opens is the Lord, is my opinion. And I think that the important thing is that God wants these things that He has called us to do and kind of puts in front of us, or these dreams in our hearts, these dreams that He put there. He wants those things to be a blessing to us, not something that is our demise, not something that is a weight that we crumble underneath because we were not prepared to carry that or to walk in that or whatever it is. And so everything that God is preparing and building inside of you in this season is for a purpose. We don't know what's around the corner. We might know step A and B, but He knows C and D and E and F and all the steps afterwards. And we can't always see everything that's in front of us, everything that's around the corner. And we absolutely need to embrace the moment that we're in and allow Him to build and grow and prepare these things inside of us so that when we get to the next step, the next point, we don't fall apart under those things. We don't crumble under those things. Something that I used to tell myself in those times sorry, my shaky hand, my arm's getting tired here. Something I used to tell myself in those times when I'd start to feel discouraged or just like worn out on like, here I am again, and I don't really feel anything significant happening, or, I don't see anything significant happening, and I'm just kind of sowing into this moment. Well, that's exactly what you're doing. You're sowing into this moment. And I would tell myself, one day I will live in the fruit of this moment. So every moment that I am just running after God, embracing His presence, submitting to Him, is a moment that I will live in the fruit of at some point in my life. I really think that, well, actually, let me say this. One of my favorite verses, I wrote it down here. Isaiah 55, verse 8. It says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, nor are your ways my ways, says the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. For as the rain comes down and the snow from heaven, and do not return there, but water the earth and make it bring forth and bud." In some translations, I think the NIV, it says flourish. It makes the earth flourish. "That it may give seed to the sower and bread to the eater, so shall my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me void, but it will accomplish what I please, and it shall prosper in the thing for which I sent it." Everything that God has called you to do and the things He has dropped in your heart, He does not want those things that He's made you for to be the things that take you out. So He's preparing you and building something inside of you in every season for what's next. And it's so crucial for us to embrace that, to learn, to grow, to surrender to Him, so that we are prepared for what's ahead. The last thought that I have about this, I want to address this to pastors. Pastors, if you hire a worship leader because of their talent, and specifically a young worship leader because of their talent, maybe they're just so good at singing and on, their instrument, and they're just incredibly talented and very clearly anointed for worship, and you hire them and maybe even have the thoughts like, I'm going to train them, I'm going to, raise them up, or, whatever it is. I just want to say, if you do that, you better have a plan for pastoring them and walking with them. I cannot tell you how many worship leaders I have met, I have mentored, I have spoken to, I have prayed for, that were hired because of their talent, and then they were just left to sort things out on their own. There was no one pastoring them, no one teaching them. They have never led anything in their lives. They've never pastored people. They're having to deal with your 60-year-old guitar player who has been doing this his whole life. And so he thinks that he doesn't need to show up to practice on time or to learn the songs because he's 60 and he's knows them all and knows everything. And these are the people that you are having them to deal with, and they're going, I'm so much younger. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to confront. I don't know how to communicate. I don't even know how to lead or pastor, like no experience. And they're just feeling alone. And I can't tell you how many of these I have worked with and encountered. And so I just want to say, pastors, there's nothing wrong with hiring a young worship leader based on talent alone, but you better have a plan to grow them into not just a talented person, but a pastor and someone who knows how to serve the church, someone who knows how to meet people where they are and to work with them, to lead teams, to help teams grow, to give feedback, to confront, to have hard conversations. And senior pastor, if you can't do that, well, by all means, please have someone on your staff, another pastor, someone who can step in with them and walk this out with them. I really think that this is incredibly important, and I see it all too often in worship and with worship leaders. So anyways, those are just my thoughts for Thoughts on Thursday. Every season is important. Every season matters. And let's not rush into things. Let's really wait for God to put us where we're supposed to be at the right time, because his timing is absolutely perfect.